I am very happy to be here. I think my co-panelists are very happy as well. The topic we will tackle today is on trust, reinvention, and how to tackle the future of finance with AI. So broad topic, and to do so, I have an amazing panel with me. Nathalie Bellet, which is the CEO of Naya. Naya, it's RegTech, which is helping company to manage their AI projects with all the regulation constraints that are existing around AI. We'll talk in depth on how to tackle that. We have Cyril Simbler, I'm saying in the English way, who is the head of financial services, EMEA and global banking at Databricks. Databricks, for those who don't know you, there are not many, I guess, but they are transforming this raw data, this kind of garbage, as you can say, in something clean and usable for AI. They are doing the end-to-end platform that allows to create the value. And we have Andrei Sergentov. Andrei is the head of digital global markets at BNPP CIB. You all know BNPP. CIB is the investment banking corporate part of the bank. And we will dive into very concrete things as much as we can. So just a figure, and then Cyril, it's for you. I checked online this morning, and there is an indication of trust that's moved from 52% of trust in AI 2 years ago, 2022-23, to 49% or 42% now. So there is a reduction of the trust in AI, despite the fact that we do better models, less hallucination, more people are adopting it, and companies are developing it. So there is a need to change something about that. And my first question is for you, Cyril. What is going on, and why do we need at least a change around this management of AI and for finance?
Thank you very much. So I will be also giving a flavor of the French accent here. Why do we need to change? My answer will be structured in 3 different types of elements. Number 1, we have more and more data available everywhere. Structured data, unstructured data. And basically all the banks and all the financial institutions, they need to take this data, they need to clean this data, and we have much more workload than before. So how we are going to take the best of this data in order to build really strong agents? Number 2, I think it's also very interesting to see that we are moving from what I would call the general intelligence to the data intelligence. General intelligence is basically what you have been used to see with ChatGPT. It's super great. You can have up to 55% of accuracy, which is great. And for example, if I take what we are doing with some big means of payment provider, which is customers of ours, we can see that the pre-approved offer that we can have with general intelligence in terms of conversion rate should be around 30%. If you move to data intelligence, basically you are adding some more structured analyze engine, you can go more than 80% of basically conversion ratio, which is really, really important. And number 3, I think everyone is talking about data. Everyone is talking about AI, sorry. The problem with AI is if you do not have structured data, I mean well-governed data, you can have the best machine learning model in the world, the insights will be very limited. Why? Because this is what we call GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. So at the end, and what is super important is, okay, I need to have something which will be super structured if I want basically to have efficient agents. So for this, very often at Databricks, we are often see, like the geeks, and we are, so we are not denying our DNA, our identity. We are these, people with, tattoos, Pac-Man t-shirts, working in the basement to try to stitch some pipe together. But what is important is we have tried basically now to come back to something that all the peoples who are not data practitioners can see, and how we can simplify data access to every stakeholder in the bank.
Very clear, thank you for this overview. Now, if we open the hood of what is done in a bank, specifically at BNP Paribas, so you claim yourself as the bank for a changing world. What do you do to deserve that name at CIB at least?
Right, so speaking for global markets, I think it's easier to say what we don't do with AI than what we do. But actually, I'll come back to your first question, first of all, right? So why, okay? Well, actually, 3 reasons. 1, because you can do the same things that you've been doing much more quickly and efficiently, and higher quality, potentially. 2, is because you can do more things of the same nature. So think about covering risks, for example, right? So if we cover a certain type of risk and now AI gains us a huge amount of productivity, actually we can cover risk A, B, and C instead of covering A. So that's point 2. And point 3 is we can do things that we could never do before, right? So for example, our research analysts analyzed a huge amounts of documents with large language models and build sentiment analysis off of that, right? This is just something absolutely unthinkable because it would have taken a huge amount of time. So that's the first question. Your second question is, what kind of use cases do we have? So we obviously have generic use cases, so things that are there across the whole industry. So things like text transformation, translation, writing documents, Q&A in documents. Okay, we all know that, right? We can use ChatGPT. Then there is coding, right? Actually, in a bank, there's a huge amount of IT going on, right? And this is a big topic, and clearly LLMs are very good at this, right? Or are very good at certain tasks to do with software engineering. So there's a huge amount going on there as well. And finally, there is very banking-specific things. So I've talked about research already. Actually, in each of our equity and fixed income research, we have probably more than somewhere between half a dozen and dozen use cases in each one on how to transform each part of their pipeline, each part of the document production, research, et cetera, right? And then we have a huge number of workflows, right? So clients might ask us, could you please confirm this trade? Could you please answer this question, et cetera, And of course, LLMs are very good at understanding what the clients are asking, especially for simple questions, and suggesting answers. So these are just a handful of use cases, but overall, as I say, it's probably easier to see where we don't use, or where we're not trying to integrate AI into our business than where we do.
And just a little bounce on that. So you mentioned use cases. We see more and more at our clients that if you work on use cases standalone, you save maybe some minutes, you raise a bit the NPS, but the true change is on the process reinvention end-to-end. Agentic is playing a huge part on that. Is it something you tackle at BNPP currently?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, it's worth saying that there is a vastly different level of maturity across the businesses, right? And so there are some businesses where indeed we're tackling things end to end and looking at the processes holistically, right? There are other parts of the business where you start small, and getting people used to AI was actually a key part of our strategy, right? Getting people to understand it and, back to your first point, build trust. I'll stay here.
Oh, very clear. You stay here, but regulation doesn't. Regulation moves a lot. And I would love to deep dive on how, at Naya, you tackle the agentic challenge of regulation. For instance, you worked a lot on AI. Agentic, it's a new topic. Agent regulation is even newer. Is it a specific approach that you advise and that you do at Naya?
Yes, sure. As you know, perhaps or not, AI is regulated all over the world for countries who regulate already AI as a product. So all the regulation is end-to-end one. So the obligation apply to design, development, deployment, and oversight all life cycle of the product. So each regulation, and in the big case of AI Act, we have definitions, very strict definition. And in fact, we have no definition for agentic. We have only a definition for AIS, AI system, and GPA, so general purpose AI. So it's a big challenge because the technology is not static and the regulation is static. So the challenge for the company, and we help them for sure, because there is no other solution, we have to qualify. So we help them to match the criteria of the regulation to the agents, is the first challenge. And second one, in the agent issue, is to manage all the role and decision, all the habilitation, because the agent is autonomous, and as a human, as a HR team, we are the company, because the agent may apply to interact with a human or digital environment. They have to manage very strictly role and habilitation. This is the second one, challenge.
Okay, very clear. So now we have why we need to move. We have some example of use cases that were successful, a little touch on the agents, how to create value with them. We have the regulation part tackling, but we still need to know a bit more on the how. How do we do that? And in a few minutes, so it will be very difficult to do it, I guess, in a few minutes, but if I am a bank and I want to be better at doing it, and I want even to do a full reinvention end-to-end with a strong platform, how would you do it, Cyril? And what would be the best way from 0 to 1 and 1 to multiple?
Yeah, in a few minutes. So I will try to be super synthetic, which can be hard for a Latin guy like myself, but I will do my best. Number one, you need first to understand what are the key business use case or functional use case that are critical for your institutions. So at Databricks, we have our go-to-market based on 3 main pillars. Number one is how we can help financial institutions to drive more growth, more revenue, more income. Second is how we can help you to better protect the firm. Better protect the firm is, of course, risk management with credit risk, market risk, operational risk, volatility risk, liquidity risk, but not only. We have as well regulatory compliance, AML, KYC, and cybersecurity. All this pillar motion is 52% of all the use case we have today in Europe in our portfolio, which is huge. And this is basically where AI can play a central role. And then number 3, of course, is how to improve the cost-to-income ratio. So basically how we can help you to become more productive. So basically around the 3 main motions, so we have several use cases that we have developed with the platform in order to enable financial institutions to be more, I would say, up to date. Now, technologically speaking, what does it mean? First of all, in my opinion, you need to be first multi-cloud. And this is super important. Why? Because the regulation will be here. DORA will impose to you basically next year, in a few years, to all the tier 1 and tier 2 financial institutions to have part of your data not in one hyperscaler, but at least in a second one. So if you want basically not to replicate the work you have done previously, you need to have a full portability of the data. And for that, you need to have, I would say, a sort of agnostic, cloud agnostic type of platform. Number 2, it should be, in my opinion, open source. Open source is great because you can basically leverage everything here. You own your own data with 0 copy, so it's super important. Number 3, governance. We are in a heavily regulated industry. So what you need to do, you need to have the proper lineage, which is going to be followed. What is the lineage? Is if you build a data product, you need to be able to track it from the production, from the conception, till the production, basically, of this data product, the consumption of it. So access control, tables, who has updated, what are the golden data, and if you have a control from the regulatory authorities, you are able, at your fingertips, to show how everything was created. After, and I will finish here, 2 topics. Number 1 is you need to democratize AI. I don't know, I didn't do a survey, but I'm sure that in this audience you have data practitioners, but you have also functions and business leaders. The story here is how we can help every business or function leaders to talk to your data in natural language without having the need to ask data miners, data engineers, data scientists, business analysts to build a report for you that no one will be able to control. Now you can have all your data at your fingertips. And at the end, of course, you should be, as I explained at the beginning, an industry use case enabler, which is basically answering to the 3 main topics about how we can help you to protect the firm, to generate more growth, and to be more cost efficient.
Thank you. And On top of that, there is another pillar that needs to be added, is the pillar that gives you the trust and the regulation risk. And so it's a question for you, Nathalie. So I read as well a second figure today. Only 21% of the companies are confident with their management of AI based on the new regulation. 25%, it's nothing. And we are at risk on that. And at Naya, you are fighting that. You are helping on that. And so my question to you is, how do you help companies like Enzon really in deep approach to create this trust and to monitor with your RegTech solution?
Yes, for sure, trustworthy is a monumental goal in AI deployment. As you know, the trustworthy, we can say that there is 3 layers. First one is the compliance, so all what is mandatory. Second one is ethics, all the human-centric issue. And third one is responsibility, so all the accountability on the AI supply chain. These 3 layers has to be implemented in organization. So in Naya, we provide a SaaS platform, so it's the tooling of the program. And how we deploy and how we help the company is with 3 pillars. First of all, orchestration, so organize the governance, so to help to design the role and the decision, and to coordinate on all the function in the organization, for sure legal one, but CISO, IT, and data scientists. And second one is integration. Integration is to put inside all the tool and the IT system, all the testing and the monitoring of the tech, and to have input to can guarantee the oversight. And third one is execution. So execution is to help a team to know very well what's the issue of trustworthy. And inside the solution, for sure, we put templates and things like that to help them to do the right documentation and to do the right monitoring. So our strong belief is that trustworthy, we cannot react, we have to act. And company, and I like to mention always Jeff Bezos in this matter, who said we cannot complain. Complain is not a strategy in this issue. We have to act and not to sit back and to be ready, because for sure some risk will appear and perhaps some damages for citizens or HR people, or perhaps economic damages. So to be ready to have a strong response, we have to deploy a big program and to face of this risk.
Very clear, thank you. And one final question, so to you, Andre. There are a few banks that decided to create their own LLM. So when we discussed about it, I know top of mind too, at least JP Morgan and Sberbank, for different reasons. There are some banks that fine-tune models. There are some banks who just train them to get to their context. And you, at BNPP, you did a massive partnership with Mistral very early. How is it helping you in creating the trust that is needed? And is there any impact of having a French huge provider like Mistral and promising provider on this specific topic for you in the bank?
Yeah, I think that's about 5 questions all in one go with 2 minutes left. That's challenging, I'll try.
But you can do it, I'm sure.
So yes, indeed, we partnered with Mistral relatively early. It's fantastic to have their expertise around, both from the models perspective and both from the very, very early models that we saw. Smaller models, right, actually fit in very nicely into our overall strategy. We can run them on-prem, which means that the data is completely safe, right? The customer's data does not go out. This is great. They're also smaller, which means that they consume less power, right? So that's great as well. And we can fine-tune them, right? We can fine-tune them for more specific tasks. We can fine-tune them on our data. We can fine-tune them as well, actually, there are many use cases, and I think the amount of fine-tuning is gradually going up, right? We're not training our own LLM, right? I'll be transparent about that. But we do see that the deep technical expertise, both from our AI labs and our AI staff within CIB and global markets, and external expertise from Mistral, are extremely useful and helpful to us to build those use cases, and particularly to build the trustworthy use cases, as I say. On the issue of trust, I would say that the banks have been used to do risk management for quite some number of years, right? So somehow that is part of our DNA. But of course, the AI adds additional complexity. And some of that additional complexity can be mitigated with training, right? We think training is incredibly important. We have trained thousands and thousands of our staff on AI, and on generative AI in particular, and using large language models. And what is helpful is then not to train in abstract, but to train with our tools and with our solutions deployed in mind. I think we're out of time, so I'll stop here.
Well, thank you very much. I think we need 1 more hour if we want to tackle in depth all that. Thank you for attending this lecture, and thank you for this great panel. Looking forward to continue.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Discussion.
Thank you all.